I'm ready.
Ready. Oh, we're already live, Todd.
Oh
I
man,
didn't even know. Wasn't paying
so good,
attention.
so good.
All right. Stream 15. Welcome back to Escape Pod. Do we have any announcements, Todd?
We have so many announcements this week. I will say that we do have some official Escape Pod merch available.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that.
We have a shop on Redbubble for all of your Escape Pod needs, and right now we have two shirts that are available, and we're going to be doing many more with different characters and different other things, just for our own fun. I'm not sure how many shirts we'll actually sell, Sean, and it doesn't really matter. I just like going to a place where I can buy my own shirts.
I think that was more the goal. The goal wasn't to sell a whole bunch of
No.
shirts. The goal was to buy our own shirts,
Yes.
so that we have. Todd's wearing
Reasonably
one right
priced
now.
shirts.
I think you should.
Yes.
I think you should show it off.
Oh, show it off. Yeah, I'm wearing one today.
I
We've got the
forgot.
official, yeah, the official Skate Pod logo, and then we've got other ones with the text on it and everything. So
Yeah,
just so that we can walk around feeling good about ourselves.
just so we know that that's ours.
Just reminds us of what we're doing.
So yes, I forgot to wear mine. So sorry.
It's probably better. We'd look really bad if we both had the same shirt on.
We might, but I have the text one, so. But we didn't coordinate, so I could have accidentally wore the.
Could have been a disaster.
Yeah, both have the icon on there. We're also closing in on 100 subscribers, so pretty excited about that. If you haven't subscribed, go ahead and subscribe, or tell your friends who haven't subscribed.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of really cool stuff happening really soon because our semester is about to come to an end this week, which means that it is going to become escape pod time all the time, in terms of getting projects done and making some really cool, fun stuff. So we're looking forward to that.
Yeah, not gonna lie, I'm been counting down the days. So Thursday, it's my last day. All right. So today, what are we doing today? Today we are we're going to look at some of the work that Todd's been doing lately in the last week or two with boxers, with drawing. The work you've been doing with boxers, Todd.
Yes, I've been doing a lot of work with boxers.
The character boxers from Boxers and Briefs. He's been drawing that a lot, and we're going to work on some poses, some pose exploration for the short. So yeah, so that's about it. Anything you wanted to add?
No, just going to be talking through and kind of working through one of our. We've got a series of gags that take place in our first episode. So Sean and I thought it would be just kind of fun to spitball ideas, and I can show some what I've been doing, and then we can play around with some ideas and just develop them on the fly.
Yeah. So if you have any questions, pop them in the chat, and we'll be checking that off and on. Otherwise, we're gonna draw. All right, we ready?
I'm so ready. I will share my screen with you. And I'm going to turn my monitor just a little bit.
All right. Give me 1 second. Oop, we don't want to do that. There we go. All right, we got all of that up. And that is up. And we're good to go. Hold on. And there we go. Now we're good to go.
We are so good to go. All right. So do you want me to walk through the process that I was using a little bit?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So I draw really, really rough. I work drawings a ton, way more than I wish I did. So what I wanted to do, though, was go through and make some expression sheets for Boxers and Briefs. And it's because we had some initial that were created by another artist way back when Sean was working on this project with another person. But they don't really stay on models. Some of them weren't as appealing as I thought they could be. So Sean and I had a couple discussions about it, and then I jumped in and took a stab at it. So These are what I came up with. And what I was trying to do was think about, what kind of expressions is Boxer is going to be pulling during this episode and maybe other episodes in the future. Um, so the first thing I had to do was figure out the head construction because, again, these weren't my designs. So how do I redraw this thing over and over and over? So it took me about a day of just sitting and drawing this character to figure out the construction methods. And I can show some of that as I work through some other poses here that I want to work on today during the live stream. But to give you guys a sense, these were some of the roughs that I was doing. And they weren't this size. Some were bigger, some were smaller. I took all of them and basically just threw them onto one sheet like this. And then this is a starting point. So I would do some cleanup on top of these just inside of Photoshop, and that's where I started to get stuff like this. So I think these are getting there. I think there's still some couple things with a few of them when I look at them. But again, once we have that puppet in place, it'll be easier to stay on model. These are pretty close to staying on model. But some of the cool things that I found just in playing with this was that we can use his little hair as basically antenna to express feeling and emotion. So when he's happy, we can make a heart shape out of them. When there's electric, lightning bolts down here, if he gets an idea or if he's doing something kind of maniacal or something like that. So I think it's a really nice extension since these characters aren't going to speak. They're going to make noises, I believe, right, Sean?
Yep.
Kind of like
just noises.
Yeah, just kind of noises and sounds. And what was the name of the other show that you referenced before from Nick Park?
Purple and Brown.
Purple and Brown, right. So we're going to try to get to fit that mode. Something else that I did then was take this into body poses. So here we have some of the body poses I've been working on. Again, thinking about this first episode where they're trying on, in the case of this one, trying on some of the underwear, pulling out the waistband really far, kind of like snapping it back in and kind of crushing it on his body just a little bit. Just some basic pointing and kind of laughing, kind of weird maniacal expression there. Running. I don't know how much Boxers is actually going to be running because he's kind of more mellow, but when he does, having the arms kind of back behind, kind of wiggling, almost like noodle arms flying back and forth, happy expressions. And then I really like starting to play with stuff like this. And I showed this to Sean yesterday, and I think he kind of liked it in terms of these characters and these episodes take place in a void. They're not really in an environment, so to speak, even though we've got a building in this first environment, or in this first episode, I should say. So in this case, I was playing with the idea of, can they look like they're up against, like on the floor, up against a wall, even though there'd be no wall there. So really trying to push the poses a little bit and do some fun things with them. In this case, it gets really geometric because it feels like he's stuck into a box, even though there would be no box. It's kind of all in their heads, their imagination and whatnot. So just kind of playing with those. And that's what I've been doing for the past few days, actually. And I've got a couple more that I want to work on today while we're doing this live stream.
Yeah, so we're going to... Todd's going to be working on that, and I haven't been drawing these characters, so I can't draw them like Todd can, but I can draw poses. So I'll be drawing rough poses as we kind of play with different ideas.
Yeah, and I'm going to take this. We go for really highbrow humor here. But again, this is kind of how I like to work. I cannot not draw really kind of gritty and really, I don't know what the word is really for it. But I thought this was kind of funny, Sean, where he's kind of wrapped himself through his legs, looking back behind. And again, it's all about him trying to see from every angle what's going on. And I want to play with this pose just a little bit, where he's kind of scratching his head and kind of contemplating or kind of rubbing his chin maybe a little bit. So I'm going to attempt to work through that here during the live stream.
All right. So is there anything you want me to do, like specifically?
So let's talk about like where it takes place, right? So what we're working on is kind of in the center of the episode. The setup is they get to the building. They see these two pairs of underwear, and there's only two. They see the sign, and it says, get one. So what they have to do is decide, what one pair do I want? Again, they take it very literal because they're not very bright. So I think anything that has to do with like them thinking through or like trying on, one of the ideas that I was kind of toying with was they're kind of imaginary in their imaginations they're trying these things on, but in actuality the underwear wouldn't be there. So maybe like the underwear kind of materializes or a thought bubble or something like that, and they grab it and they're trying it on. But I think anything that kind of, yeah, I don't know. That was my initial take, anyways. Was that just trying to make the decision, and anything kind of goofy and fun, like they're trying it on, they're posing, they're trying to walk in it or strut in it, try to see if it's comfortable. Um, that's
Okay.
what I was kind of playing with in terms of the ideas that I was coming up with here.
All right. I'll just start going.
Just start going. So how do you usually start off your poses, Sean?
Just
Like
in
what?
general,
Yeah.
I start with the circle, Todd,
Okay.
because I'm normally drawing the hips. I start with the hips almost always. So I'll walk through this. So this is almost a repeat of one of the ones you've got, but I draw hips and then I'll pull the torso up. And what you're trying to think about is like line of action,
Mm-hmm.
normally always at first. And when they're just like rough explorations, then I just keep them super, super rough. So that's how I normally start. Again, just thinking about overall line of action. So let's see. So like this one, if you can see what I've got. Let me switch my color real quick. Oops. So like something like this, right?
Yep.
Creating that swoop, but then, so you can do one of two things. You could leave it in that like simple C curve, right there, or a reverse C or whatever. No, it's just a C. But he's also showing off his underwear. So sometimes it's also nice to just put that little like hook at the top,
Yep.
at least with his neck. Just because it adds a little bit of something to that. Also, it fits with what he's trying to do, because what I want him to do is that. I want him to look down, right?
Right.
So he's looking down at his underwear. So he's pushing them out with his hips. And then there's a lot of things you can do with the arms. They're not, at least right now, they're not as integral to the overall pose. Just because you could do so many different things, right? You could take off, look at kind of what you have done, right? And he could be like pointing. Let's get this. Look
Yeah,
at
one of
that.
the things I was going to say, one of the things that I found that was interesting too is how much we're going to actually have to move their arms and slide them on their bodies.
Yeah.
Because by default they're drawn pretty low, which puts his shoulders down with a really long neck. But yeah, just like you're drawing right there, to get his shoulders to swoop up and his neck to kind of come down a little bit so he can pull a pose like that would be, just going to move some parts around.
Yeah.
Cool.
So then, once you kind of consider your line of action, then it's readability or like silhouette. So that's probably more, at least with something like this, like with the pose that I just drew, more important when you're posing the arms to think about your silhouette, to make sure like his gesture reads.
Mm-hmm.
So you want his hands kind of free and out, so that they're not like for instance, if you take his left hand, screen right, and you stuck it right here, right? It sits in front of his body. It might not be as easy to read. That's all. It doesn't mean
Cool.
that you can't put it there. And there might be instances where you have to do something like that, but if we have the choice, we can put it out kind of wherever we want. The other thing you could do is you could take this same pose and we could just present, right? So he's got, so there's one that says like, hey, look at these, and then there's another one where he's like presenting with his arms
Right.
out.
Right.
Same kind of thing where it's like, hey, look at this. Just two different options where you've got basically the same overall body pose. But we're just doing something a little bit different with the arms. All right.
Let's see here. I don't think I can do this the way I want to. All right, we're gonna cheat this. No, it's the head construction stuff. Like trying to do I'm trying to do something upside down.
Morning, Amanda. How are you?
All right.
We are doing all right.
We're drawing poses.
Drawing poses. Looking forward to the end of the semester. Trying to draw one where he's like twisted all the way
Yep.
up, like he's twirled himself, like a, what's something that where they twist, like a cinnamon donut, like
Yep.
whatever those are, and he has turned all the way around, like
Yep.
twice, and is looking back at his butt.
Yeah, those were some of the fun ones that I was trying to play with, where he was like, this is like his head, and his head was somehow facing forward again, and then he's got like he's like,
Yeah.
like all the way up and around, and then like he could unwind his bottom half, but his head stays put. So it's like he winds one way and then he unwinds the other way.
Yeah.
Because it'd be funny if he had like his underwear on, and then he puts his legs straight out like this, and then just like a
Right.
helicopter almost.
Yeah.
Let's see. All right, I'm just gonna make this one work. I like this one better. big. Make it shorter.
Need to look at reference for that twist. I don't know what that would look like.
Yeah, I was trying to find some, um,
Whoops.
but I didn't really get anything that I thought was. I was looking at some of the old Tex Avery stuff,
Yeah.
some of like Tasmanian Devil, um, some of the Daffy Duck stuff. He used to do things similar to that.
All right. Yeah, I mean, for the most part, we're just making them up. However, I would recommend looking at reference for certain things. There's certain things just with experience you can kind of get by with without going and looking at stuff. But for something that's really complicated, like trying to show somebody like actually twist it up, I don't know what that should look like. So I would definitely need to, if I want to do that justice, I need to go find some reference. The other thing is, I'm going to run out of ideas fairly quickly here.
Yeah, this is the first time I'm actually doing poses like this, anyways.
Yeah.
So it's been fun. I know I've been telling you about this, but like I've wanted to do stuff like this for a very long time. Especially these 2D type poses where you can get away with anything.
Yeah, where you can do whatever you want.
Yeah, and I think that's what's awesome. Like I told you, you already know all this, but I think that's what's awesome about these characters is that you can pretty much do anything with them. This looks so ridiculous, man.
All right, I pulled up some reference here that I'm gonna. Try to look at as I do this.
Yeah, I think the more we exaggerate their poses and just the crazier stuff they do will be funny. Because we can offset that by having them kind of be normal for a little bit. And then all of a sudden they get crazy. Thinking on this one, did I do that one yet? I didn't do that one yet. All right, we're going to change his expression on this one, Sean. We're going to give him the ooh face. The idea here is that he can't see what the back of himself looks like, so he's trying to see what his backside looks like in these, so he dips down underneath and looks back up. This is a perfect example, too. I don't know where his arm would come out.
I
He's so
think
bent. He's so bent over on himself.
you just do it wherever.
I was thinking about having him try to scratch his head, but it's gonna look like he's trying to scratch his butt.
Yeah, you probably need to keep them clear a little bit.
What do you mean?
Like, the more you put into that area, like that face and head area, there's
Yeah.
already so much there
Yeah.
that it'll start to. I think it'll probably. It could get confusing.
Yeah. Well, do you think? I mean, so I was already thinking about. Here, I want to get rid of that background thing for a second. Hold on. Which one is it? It's down here. Yeah. So if I look at it like this, they put that back on. Hold on. What I was thinking too when I was trying to draw this out was that if I took all of this stuff here and it was like over here a little bit more, and as he kind of bent under, but then it starts to get like too far away,
Yeah.
and it's like not on top of him. But I don't know if it feels too on top of itself right now.
I mean, you could always pull. You know, the further away you get it, the more cartoony it's going to have to get.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Just
Or if I did like this. And again, if he was upside down, but then it starts to look, it's funny that way. I don't know. It's not the best pose.
I would just keep working with what you got.
All right. Get rid of all this stuff.
Hey Sam, how are you doing?
Hmm. Hey, would this read better, do you think? If I was able to take this and pull it out just a little bit more like this, almost do something like that,
Yeah.
and then have a break.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like some kind of gap
Right.
somewhere in between so you can kind of see the separation.
You can try it.
Right now, I just don't think his body reads. It's like too.
It kind of goes away.
Yeah, you see his head, but you don't see the. Okay, let me try that. What is happening here? All right, I'm gonna try something else. All right. What you working on, Sean?
I'm having him do a strut and a whistle.
Yeah.
Trying to get it so that it reads a little bit. It's hard right now with the way I'm drawing his feet because they're overlapping.
And I know we've talked about this also, but what will be really nice is when we have a library of poses that we like, that we kind of go back to all the time, to make things simpler.
Yeah.
So I'm going to get rid of all this. We're going to take this.
Yeah, I mean, so it's not. So it's for a couple of things. Um, Part of it is just to explore ideas for this particular section of the short, for when they're trying on their different underwear and trying to see if they look good. So we're just, a lot of it is just coming up with ideas. So like what Todd's doing, you know, like a really ridiculous, he wants to see what he looks like or how he looks. And then that's what a number of those poses are. That's what some of mine a little bit are for. So it's really like idea exploration. You know, kind of just presenting those or whatever. So that's part of it. The other part is once you create stuff in Toon Boom, and let's say you're animating and you create a pose, you can actually just save that pose out, and whenever you need it again, you just import it. So it's not so much that we're trying to create that; it's more that once we do create some of these interesting poses, we can save it. So then that speeds it up. So that's more of a I guess like a plus from it, rather than the goal of what we're doing. Like for the pose that that Todd's doing right now, like you probably won't see that again. Like that's a very specific thing. But if you're doing this pose where he's just really happy and walking down the street, like for this one, the idea is he feels really good. That's kind of the idea that I was going with that. Like he put these on and he just feels awesome about himself. But that could be something that you could use later on too. So that's just really all we're doing right now. And again, for those who might have been a little bit later, Todd has been working on like actually being able to draw these characters. I have not. So that's why I just draw regular generic poses with a generic character that I always do, and I might try to add in a hair or nose or something, or his giant feet, but Todd can actually draw the character now.
To some extent.
More successfully than me. So like, for instance, this pose, when I said I was probably needed some reference to look at. So that pose, anybody know what that pose is? Can anybody guess? Not Todd. No guesses? Let me pull it up. He's sort of pointing at his butt. He is, I I needed to put his hand back there. But yes, since he's kind of showing off his underwear, I do have him doing that a little bit. But it is the, if I can make this bigger, it's the baby Brent from Cloudy.
Uh, Baby Brent.
Anyways, that pose. And then I grabbed this one because I thought it was funny, just how like confident that pose is, and then kind of altered it right in there. That's it. But since we're just exploring, that's the kind of thing that I'm doing. Looking at other people's, kind of the things that they've come up with, and how can I steal it and change it.
This is the fun stuff. Seeing how far we can push these things. I don't know what to do with his arms. How's that?
I I don't know if it fits with the show, but I know what I want to do. I want him to play the drums on his butt, but
What?
I want him to play the drums on his butt.
Dude, that's what I was thinking. I think I might just do it. Oh, hands, man. Drawing the hands. Let's see, it's gonna be coming from the side just a little bit. Oh man, I'm trying to draw it all upside down now, so I'm trying to think like how would his hand actually look? Because he'd actually be backwards. Well, I've got 85% of this thing. I got to figure out the hands, see if he can play the drums. Dude, I don't know what to do with his hands on this. I'm going to clean up the rest of it, and then I'll worry about his hands.
I will say more the more you do this, like the more you force yourself to draw more and more poses, you run out of the cliche fairly quickly, and then you start coming up with really stupid stuff. And some of the really stupid stuff ends up being good. Some of the stupid stuff ends up being really stupid, but do you mean, Amanda, do you mean like realistic human, or do you just mean humanoid in general, like what we have is relatively humanoid? It has 2 arms, 2 legs, regular body. Is that what you mean? Or are you talking about like style? Yeah, so I mean that kind of comes down to, so the more realistic it is, the less exaggerated sometimes you can get it, just because it has to fit within a real world, and we can't, you know, a realistic body can't really do it all the time. So you're going to break that. Like if what's a realistic? Let's say Star Wars, right? That's a even though it's a fantasy, it is a realistic world. If if the Mandalorian tries to get in the pose that Todd is drawing,
It would be a way better show.
the show would have millions of more views. No, it would break the feel, right? So that is actually probably more. I don't know if that's answering your question, but when you have something that is like Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs or Hotel Transylvania or any of the movies that are like that, you set a like you set the rules at the beginning, and we live in that world. That world can't live in a different world. You can't take a character out of that world and put it in another world because they have different rules. You can believe that characters can do whatever they're doing in Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs because you've set those rules. And so then it just kind of works. We'll believe it. Or at least we can suspend our belief and get into that, if that kind of makes sense. So they can do all sorts of crazy, stretchy moves in that world. But I would say anytime you're taking... I personally, like when you're doing really cartoony stuff, it always has to be grounded in some sort of realism. There has to be something that we can relate to. Otherwise it gets a little bit weird, and maybe we won't be able to believe it. But I think doing the cartoony stuff is harder just because you still have to understand all of the realistic stuff, and then you have to push it to an extreme and still make that work. You're doing different things in terms of... now, I guess I'm probably talking a little bit more about animation than I am necessarily just drawing stuff. But with cartoony animation, you have to understand both. Yeah, because they wouldn't, Amanda, they wouldn't have realistic characters that do some of these silly poses. All right.
This is getting better. It's bad when you start to make yourself laugh. Or lame, whatever.
No, I haven't seen Mitchell's versus the Machines, but I want to. My kids started watching it yesterday. When I got home, they actually brought it up. They had watched about half of it, so...
Did they like it?
They did like it. But I told them that I wanted to watch it, and they're like, well, sorry, we already started it. And I'm like, I'm pretty sure we can rewind. You could just start that.
No, I don't think you can do that anymore.
Did you like it, Amanda? It's pretty cartoony, right? From the trailer, it looks pretty cartoony.
Yeah. Hopefully this will be the summer of Escape Pod, where we spend all kinds of time this summer working on stuff like this and doodling. That's what I want, Sean.
Todd, if you can dream it,
Man,
you can do it.
a motivation speaker.
Who first said that?
What?
Who first said that? What a dumb comment.
Some failure.
If you can dream it, you can do it. I dreamt I was a wolf last night.
So stupid. I think you're wrong. I think this post should be in every episode.
Somehow we have to justify it
Yeah,
that it makes
it
it
just
in.
shows up. He's kind of like, I know what to do. How does that reads better, right?
Yeah.
I put some separation between them. Does
So
everyone know the key to finding good silhouettes?
the
If I
key to,
paint the entire thing black, I would see it really quick. Like a just completely solid,
yeah.
one color or whatever. I just like to ask Sean instead.
Did you want me to answer that?
I don't know. Feel free.
Oh, it's about negative space, creating negative space so that things can read.
So that's what I think the key to what I just did was this right here.
Yeah.
Giving it room to breathe. Oh, wow. We have another successful post, Sean. Look at this.
Look at you go. Look
That
at all
one
those
was tough.
poses.
I think some of these things will be a lot, well, they shouldn't be, but for me anyways, they'll be a lot easier to figure out when we have the puppet, because I know what I want to do with it. But to sit and actually be able to draw it out, oh, that's hilarious. What are you doing?
I'm trying to get him
That is awesome.
on his hands, and his feet are also down, and he is
He's
just
kind of walking around.
Yeah.
See, that's funnier than what I have.
well, his body is like 4 times as long as what it should be, but
No, but that's good. But you know what would be hilarious? Is if he starts off doing something like that, and then he wraps around into this pose. You know what I mean? It's like he walks around and like pretzels himself into...
yeah.
Oh, dude, that's totally what his arms should be doing. And then he could do like gymnastics. If his arms were kind of out or down. Oh, no, I got it. Like this. His hands are down. Yes, I like that. And we could have his feet drooping a little bit. And then we could even do something like this out of that pose where his legs are kind of out. You could do whatever you wanted to.
Oh, yeah.
I think I'm going to do that. I think I'm going to plant his hands on the ground. I'll have to change his feet, but that's okay. Man, we're almost out of time today. I did one whole pose. That took forever.
That went by quick.
It did go by quick. I'm definitely not fast at this, but I feel like I'm getting better at it.
Yeah, they're looking good. Oh, it's 11 o'clock. It is. You know what that means.
Escape pod's got to end so we can get the eats.
Escape pod is gonna take off here. Drive away and get something to eat. All right. Well, thanks for stopping by. For those who were here, I know
I'm
at
going to
least.
unshare. I'm just going to keep sharing.
No, just leave it. Yeah, it's fine. At least Amanda and Sam, we know you were here. I don't know who else is here, but yeah, you have a great day too. Again, thanks for stopping by. So this is our last stream for our semester. So our semester ends. Does it end Thursday or does it end on Friday, Todd?
It actually ends on Saturday, I think.
Okay. Who's having a Saturday class?
Not us.
I feel bad for whoever has to do that. And then things will probably start to change a little bit just because we'll have more free time. We might stream more often. We might stream longer, but we'll let you know. And we do have, again, we mentioned it before, we do have a really big stream popping up on the 26th and 27th that will be for Comet Giving Day. And we're going to have a ton of guests. We'll be doing some things too. We don't have the full schedule all planned out, but that's going to be coming out. So we'll be doing some promotional materials for that. So just keep an eye out for that, and then always we'll still be streaming probably at Tuesday at 10 up through there. So anyways, I think that's it. All right. So long. It's been a pleasure.
Thanks, guys.